Hi. There have been a few Orson Welles documentaries in the last year, perhaps not surprisingly, given the release of The Other Side of the Wind, his probably last film. We'll see what they cobble together from this stuff in his vaults. But I've watched two of them. I'll talk about the first today, and that's The Eyes of Orson Welles, directed by Mark Cousins, late of Moviedrome, one of the inspirations for Cinema Limbo. And the film is the story of Wells's life and career through the prism of his art. He was an obsessive sketch artist, painter, scribbler, doodler. He'd been to art school where he first started developing his creative skill, having already been working in theatre and Shakespeare since he was a boy. And a huge trove of images survives to this day. And Cousins goes through it. He looks at the way that his art reflects his films, the way his art inspired his films and shows his train of thought, as well as aspects of his personal life. I found it very interesting, very engaging. Cousins narrates it as a letter to Orson Welles, and particularly breaks down Welles's interests into four categories, into almost medieval courtiers, his interest in kings, knights, jesters rather, and knaves, I think the other one was. Yes, I think that's right. Kings, knights, knaves, jesters. There's probably another one in there. But it was an interesting dissection of the man through the art, and vice versa. You see which things form through lines through his life, like Christmas cards. That he would draw Christmas cards. He had a sort of a knack for drawing a quick Christmas tree and images of Father Christmas, who over time would become more and more rotund, more and more red-nosed, and a bottle of liquor would become more and more prominent in the drawings as Orson's wealth and girth increased over the years. I shouldn't say wealth, because famously he had difficulty with money. But I found it a fascinating film. Because, as I say, Cousins narrates it as a letter to Welles, and there is a chapter where Orson writes back. But very interesting, quite idiosyncratic in its way, and yes, worth seeing.